All right. Well, next we have which before we get to the next call, just as a reminder, there are the links in the chat right now to donate to Recovering from Religion Foundation. You can donate or you can volunteer. Either one is going to help out the organization. They're coming up on their 12-year birthday, so let's hope for another 12 years. And I guess we'll get to the next caller. Next caller is Claire from Arizona. Hi there, Claire. How you doing?
Oh my gosh. I'm no longer an atheist now because God answered my prayer that I come on after Tony. What? Horrifying piece
I already
of
like you,
shit.
Claire.
I had to disparaging my rights as a woman. I am sorry. I mean, I like the idea of putting some men's castration to a vote for all women. I vote that it includes. Sorry. With any women,
All right,
Tony, just please, for everyone's sake.
Yeah. Well, so what's on your mind today, there, Claire?
So, sorry, I'm still laughing a little bit. I actually called because I wanted to thank you guys for your work, and I wanted to talk about kind of a message of hope because I was in a really disturbing cult, and when I talk about this, it's going to sound a little crazy because it's panic where there are like these ideas about blood, sex, cult sex. In my late teenage.
Well, I'm getting cut out. She's cutting out a lot.
Part of the reason I got into it.
Yeah, Claire, I'm not sure if you're kind of in a weird location or whatnot, but you keep cutting in and out a little bit.
We can't even hear half of what you're saying.
Help. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Oh yes, yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know what happened. There's a lot of Bluetooth devices in my house, and sometimes they fight over control of the phone. So where would you like me to start? What did you not hear of what I said?
You said you were in a pretty screwed up cult and you were affected by it. That's what we heard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in a pretty messed up cult. And, I heard callers on call-in shows like yours and the Atheist Experience and Talk Heathen, several of them expressing fear over what leaving religion would mean for their mental health. Now, part of the reason that I ended up in said cult is because when I was a teenager, I started experiencing strange things. I would get grainy vision, I would see what looked like auras around things, and I would get horrible, horrible headaches. And so my parents took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, this is all in your head. You need therapy. And I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess I'm just crazy. And then the cult was like, no, these are messages from God. You have special powers, blah, blah, blah. Well, fast forward about, 5 years of being in this awful cult and being abused, I eventually learned better. I learned that what was actually going on and actually causing these visual disturbances was something really mundane. It was just migraines. It was just migraines with aura, which is a rare side effect that sometimes happens. Right, and right. I've heard callers on other shows say, I'm experiencing this thing, I'm experiencing this sensation, and, my religion has an interpretation for it. And I'm scared if I leave that religion, then that just means I'm, then that there's something horribly wrong with me. And I would really encourage those people to talk to people from your project or find a secular therapist, because it could be something completely harmless And just don't be afraid.
Right. I totally agree with you,
Sorry, I don't know
Claire.
if that's a helpful story.
I totally agree. You
Hello?
so many people. Yeah, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
You guys have kind of been cutting out the entire time I'm listening to your show. I don't know what's up with my phone connection, but I can hear you now.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you called in. I'm glad you said that, because there are many very mundane things that can cause those kinds of experiences. And religion loves to take advantage of that. And you were a victim of that very process. And this process goes back thousands of years. You could see how somebody like Muhammad might have had migraines and experienced auras, and as a result started an entire religion. There is a lot of speculation about normal, natural, I'm not saying good, but normal doesn't necessarily mean good, people with simple issues around their neurology, and that neurology then gets taken advantage of by religion. So I'm glad you discovered the source, the root cause of those auras. I'm assuming you got some treatment for it?
I mean, the treatment is essentially like I take, Excedrin, or I've learned, I used to think the headaches were punishment from God because I wasn't interpreting the auras and visions correctly. Now I know that if my, vision starts to get grainy, or I see an after image, which they look like, that's why it's called migraine with aura, but it's not actually an aura, then I know that I need to drink a lot of chamomile tea, need to rest up, need to take Excedrin, need to do basically self-care to try and reduce the headache impacts. If I start having those experiences, my life's going to suck for a day or two.
So you've learned to pay attention to what goes on before, so you can mitigate the problem. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's not scary anymore. I used to be terrified, of experiencing those things. And now I know it's just thunderclouds on the horizon. Better bring an umbrella kind of thing.
Yep. That's great metaphor. I love it. Bring an umbrella. Well, the other thing is a bit disturbing, and that is that a medical professional said it was all in your head. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, he wasn't technically wrong, if you think about the wording, but he was very, very wrong.
Yeah, you're right. Most medical doctors see enough. That should be a pattern that almost anybody who's been in practice for even a few years probably has seen. So the fact that this person didn't know what it was or didn't identify it correctly is a bit disturbing. That's not high-level medical practice. You don't have to have a lot of training to know that set of symptoms is probably migraine.
No,
Claire,
I think a lot of it had to do with me being a teenage female at the time and getting dismissed. So.
Yeah, that's a real possibility, unfortunately.
Yeah. Claire, I'm just kind of curious. What was the thing that caused you to look for answers elsewhere other than the cult that you were in?
Well, everyone else in the cult, I guess I've always been a huge, you can't take the ability to critical think out of my head. I mean, even when I joined the cult, it was out of desperation for something that I wasn't getting a good answer to. And well, first of all, I noticed that there was sort of this hierarchy, and the cult members would contradict themselves. And being the true believer, I wanted everything to line up. I thought, well, if A equals B and B equals C, then C should equal A. But the other cult members, it became pretty clear that they were just using this as like a fantasy world to be, demigods or has this hierarchy or take advantage of others or be powerful. And what really did it for me is that they would speak to each other in tongues. And I could never pull that off. And I felt so left out until I stumbled on a YouTube video about glossolalia. Because this cult I was in was like, nah, they, like every other religion, they hated all other religions. Not every other religion, but like many religions, they despised other religions. So I watched like a documentary one day that was looking at this Christian sect, and they had people doing glossolalia and speaking in tongues, and it was the same sounds coming out of these Christians' mouths as these people in the cult. And I was like, wait a minute. And then they explained, this is a learned behavior, which, there's atheists who can go on call-in shows and still perform, speaking in tongues as they would in church. And I was like, so that's why I couldn't do it. It wasn't real. It was a learned behavior. And so, and then I also stumbled on a Reddit thread that was talking about visual snow and migraines and explanations for what I was experiencing. And it all just kind of came crashing down. And I couldn't unsee the evidence that it wasn't true.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on several counts there.
I gotta say, there's no way I could fake like speaking in tongues, like whatsoever, because like as soon as I start trying to talk gibberish like that, I come up with just weird words like shamalama ding dong. I could so see myself trying to speak in tongues and being like shamalama ding dong, and like they would immediately know it's like, oh, you're bullshitting us. Come on, don't do that. Well, Claire, I'm really glad that you were able to, see your way out of it and use your critical thinking skills, because I find that a lot of people are lacking in those, but I'm glad that you still retain them and you didn't get too sucked up into that cult mindset. So I'm really glad that you were able to get out of it.
And I just want to say, Claire, I hope you go back to being an atheist after this show, because I don't think
yeah.
Don't let Tony deconvert
you. Don't think that? You don't think? I think Tony's existence is like good enough reason to deconvert again. So I'm back to being an atheist now.
Okay. Well, if you do convert to anything, go become an acolyte of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, because I'm the high priest of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. You can be an acolyte.
I'm pretty sure, and I got ordained by you guys ages ago when when one of my friends was going to get married. So I may.
You may be one of our followers, eh? Okay, well, good.
I may have forgotten. I don't know, man. I'll go find my colander.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in, Claire. I hope you have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, sinners. It's me. And you're watching The Line. Hit that subscribe button and consider ringing that bell. Because if you do, an angel will get its wings.